False 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations. They call themselves the Bad Batch.
Did you get that over the weekend, or did you already have it?
There you have it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another decent episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're back with Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 12, Rescue on Ryloth.
Now that everyone's expectations have just
Hey,
gone to
I
the
did
low mid-level.
On-Fleek last week, and it was all controversial, so I toned it back in the opposite direction.
Complete opposite.
There were a lot of options though that you could have gone.
You
with
could have said
decent.
like low key, cool, good episode.
Stop.
Actually, I'll keep that in my
next
wallet.
week. You
and
should
pull
write it down
out.
for next week's episode under your notes. Just write that.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Anyways,
So
All right.
basically part 2, continuation of last week's episode. What was your guys' overall thoughts?
Drew, why don't you go ahead since this literally just happened for you?
I did. I was, as you guys listening / viewing this, we're 2 days late.
But not
And-
$2 short.
Not $2.
Not 2
short.
imp coins short.
Nope. Just about 4, but you know.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
we're not.
What is it with the low standards, guys?
Because that way we can only go up. That's all. That's all
I
we're
guess.
saying.
I guess.
Anyways, I
Anyways.
somehow was able to not get any spoilers until I watched it today, even though I watched it 2 days late. So, Andrew, insert the applause button right there. Yeah.
I don't have an applause button, but
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good episode. Without going into too many details, I liked how the Bad Batch was able to get there. I thought it was really interesting. I didn't think that was how it was going to happen. I don't think any of us really did. We didn't really talk about it that much. So, overall, I thought it was a really good episode. People were saying in the chat earlier that it was kind of like a filler. I don't think
What?
it was a filler.
Who said that?
People named Boom, but
no.
How?
He was no. He didn't say that. He was
didn't?
asking what type of filler we thought might be coming in season 2 if there is season 2 because
I thought he said this was a filler.
no, dude.
What prompted that question?
I think he prompted it himself, but I just saw the word filler. Anyways, so no one was saying it was a filler, but
Okay.
overall it was a good episode. I didn't necessarily like it more than the last one, but I didn't like it any less either. That makes any sense?
It was about the same.
It's about the same. I thought it was a good episode. So
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah. I thought it was good. I think there was more emotional tension between the characters in this episode.
Really?
Huh?
Well, maybe yes.
Well, I mean, there wasn't very much in the.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
wasn't very much.
No. Okay, hold on. There was more emotional tension tied to the Bad Batch in this episode.
then last one.
Correct.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
last one we got
So
it for
so
like
there
10
there was
minutes.
more. I guess there was more plot developing emotional tension in this episode rather than the last episode, right? Because obviously the Bad Batch is in this one like 300% more. Considering they weren't in the last episode. Yeah, so I thought it was good. You know, I don't know if I like it more than last week because last week, and I said this when we recorded last week's episode, because last week wasn't like focused on the Bad Batch, you know? I think I liked this less because of the Bad Batch was back, which is like super. It's like a super weird thing to say, but like I really enjoyed focusing on
different
you know,
characters.
Cham and his family. Yeah.
Good.
But no, it was good. We got a lot of really great moments from Hauser.
Yeah.
He's becoming a favorite of mine very quickly.
There's literally
Um,
only like what 3 minutes screen time between the two episodes of him, and like
but
he's already one of
they're
our
worth it.
favorites.
I bet
They're
you
worth
there's a
it.
lot of people online that love him right now. So
Yeah. I would say it has one of my favorite spaceship moments.
When Tech,
Dude,
That's
Tokyo
just-
drifts that thing. Yeah.
yeah, that scene was intense, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how good a pilot Tech was until this episode.
It's because he doesn't let his feelings get in the way.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's a little technical.
yeah.
Yep. So anyways, I don't remember what I think last week I gave the last week's episode like an 8.5 or a 9.
It was
you gave it
pretty
a
high.
9.
I think it was a 9 because I did an 8.5. You were
Okay, so I gave it a 9. I'm gonna go ahead and jump the gun to give you an idea of like what I thought because I'm having a hard time
finding the words.
finding the words to like express how I feel. So I would give this one an 8. Just down a solid point. But for me, that's a big deal because I wouldn't give a single one of these episodes anything lower than like a 7.
Right.
And if I have, and I've forgotten that I have, I apologize.
It was probably your Sleukamai episode that
yeah,
you're
it probably was. But anyways,
But yeah,
Jeremiah, what did you think?
I thought it was a great episode. I would say that I like last week's episode more, but that's probably just because of like
The hypeness behind
the
it.
hypeness of seeing Hera and Chopper again, like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
loving those characters from Rebels. So like seeing them was like heightened my like excitement for it. And so going into episode 2, it was just like, all right, what's the plan? Like it's more let's get down to business type of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of important plot points in this episode that are obviously gonna affect the last 4 episodes. So like
Yeah.
it was a lot of surprising things, and so
I think this episode is a very important episode. If for no other reason than the last 30 seconds of the episode.
yeah, that
Yeah.
and with what Hauser did at the end too. So like
True.
yeah, it's definitely final countdown for the season. So
It's so fun.
hit the button for that. We
That's-
don't want to get
We can hit the
taken
button.
down.
But if you know
I
it,
don't-
you can go ahead and sing
don't-
along.
I don't have the final countdown button queued up.
All right, but anyway, we can jump into scene by scene. So immediately we go back to the city and go to the prison where all the people like Cham and Mr. Yes.
It looks way better than it did in the Clone Wars.
The prison or the city?
The city.
Yeah,
Like
so
it had way more detail. It seemed way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just overall looked way better than it did in like back in season 1 of the Clone Wars. We've come a long way. We really have.
Yep, definitely. So Miss Syndulla is there, Gobi's there, and then there's like another cell with some other people that were
We
captured.
get her name.
Well, right. I forget what it was. It was Ayla or Ilya or
Elisa or something.
something
Hold on.
like that.
I'm totally blanking on
No,
it.
What's her
it's
name?
like
We just
starts with
don't
a vowel.
remember it.
It was in the credits last week, so like it was in the credits. But
Eleni.
Alini,
Alini.
Eleni.
I think it was Alini. I think that's how they pronounce it.
Eleni.
I feel like Ellen.
I feel like they like her parents were playing like Scrabble and this had a bunch of vowels at the end, and like, all right, this is what we're going with.
Yeah.
But yes, so Admiral Rampart, he goes and visits them, kind of gives a little like shoves it in their face like haha type of thing. But I think one of the best lines so far in the series came from Miss Syndulla, where
Oh yeah.
she's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've seen what you do to your allies. I prefer to be your enemy. Like, like, like that was like, brr, brr, brr. Like
Yeah.
they should have had that play in the episode, but
Yeah, they definitely should have done that.
because it's definitely you see where Hera gets
Her
know,
sassiness from.
her like her she's like not afraid to like say what needs to be said type of thing.
Yeah.
And so she gets that right from her mother. So that was just like one of my favorite lines of the season. But then Hauser is there watching this go down, and he kind of lingers there and kind of looks at Cham and then walks away. Like so, you can tell he's torn. But then they go out of the facility, and Hauser and Rampart are talking, and Rampart's like, all right, we gotta get the rest of Cham's freedom fighters and rally them up, search the whole planet. And Hauser's like, oh, they're not committing any crimes. They're just doing they're hiding. They're not doing anything wrong. But he's like, they're supporters. Like we gotta get rid of them, type of thing. And Hauser's like, then they start talking about Orn Frita, and like I was like, Cham didn't shoot. Like so it came from somewhere else. Like it wasn't even one of Cham's people. Like, and then so Rampart's just like, well, then who was it? And so like he's like, well, I don't know. Well, then you don't have any argument, type of thing.
Yeah.
But and then Hauser's like, all right, I'm gonna go find Hera myself. And he's like, no, we have a squad working on that. So like, right away, you know that Hauser is worried and he wants to do his part to save Hera, but like his hands are tied and he's being watched, type of thing. So
Yeah.
So I think that was just a great scene. And then after this, like, so they're like trying to find Hera, like wherever they can think of, and she's literally like just on the cliff, like by their house, like spying with Chopper. Like she's like there. She's not really hiding, really per se at that moment. But
Like in the last episode, she was hiding as much when she got caught than she was in this one when she was hiding.
Yeah.
yeah. So
You would think the Empire would be smarter than that.
Would you though?
I mean, I would. If you're looking for the daughter of a local warlord you have in prison, like
Yeah, you would
outside of just looking in the house,
go outside.
you need to have some sort of a perimeter. Yeah, like because literally that very thing could have been happening, and it was, and they never would have known, and they didn't. So that's what I'm saying. Especially if you've got like an elite squad. What are they called? The elite squad or something?
Yeah.
The special guys and gals. Like, come on. And okay, hold on. And while I'm on the soapbox, at the very I'm jumping. Okay, at the very end, when Crosshair they're getting into the shuttle right to go to the refinery, and he's like, "Stop," and they're like, "But why?" He's like, this isn't their target. And she's like, then why are they attacking it? And I'm like, you're supposed to be the elite squad. Can you not fathom or comprehend a diversion? Like,
they're just following orders. Okay.
oh
That's
my
all
God.
they're
But
doing.
like, don't be a part of the elite squad if you're going to think like a normal stormtrooper.
Like a
Whatever.
like
Anyways.
a reg.
Soapbox, like these elite squad people, they're not very smart and they're not very impressive so far. So anyways, that's just me.
But yes, so
He said anyway.
so I guess I didn't realize this last week, but I realized it this week. So that house was the same house that we saw in Rebels, and it's the same scene with the Y-wing that's crash landed in the courtyard. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't catch that last week, but I caught it this week. So that's just interesting that Y-wing is still just hanging out there. Like,
Well, it's like a great yard decoration at that point.
Yeah.
that would be cool. Drew, with your new
Like,
house,
who
just get
else?
a big Y-wing and put
Who
it
else
in your...
could?
Why not?
Yeah, like if you have a Y-wing in your front yard, why would you remove it?
It's better
Like, if it
than
wasn't,
some of the
you know,
yard ornaments people have in front of their houses.
yeah.
Especially when you
there
go
are
out
people
of
that have
the
like
city.
entire like little ceramic gnome villages in front of their houses.
I used
Okay,
to
come on.
collect gnomes as a child, but we can have that.
You did?
Yes, we can have that conversation.
I never knew that. How do I?
That explains some
I would go to
things.
your house all the time as kids. Like I
No,
never.
like
Oh no, they hid. It was like Toy Story. When you weren't
True.
looking, they
No,
ran
it was
away.
like after Jeremiah. After,
So you were like in middle school doing
yeah.
this? Middle school, high school, collecting
Like
gnomes?
I would go buy garden gnomes and like place them in my house, and like I used to have like a full like, in my room I had like a long like bookshelf, and I would just have a bunch of different gnomes in there.
Okay, hold on.
You don't need to talk.
No.
Well, then why'd
I
you bring
need
it
I need to know this. Where did you go to like Home Depot or like a garden store and buy gnomes? You did?
Yeah. I still
And-
have
and they would
some
just-
of them too.
And they what?
Yeah, I have a box
what?
that my
Okay,
parents have of all
But
my gnomes.
why gnomes? Like what
Why
was
not?
what-
They were so cool. Like there would be smoking pipes or just chilling. I don't know. I have like a gnome on a turtle. I just like gnomes. I don't know.
All right.
They were cool.
Do you like hobbits a lot too?
I mean at the time I'm pretty sure I was like super into Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that actually might make a little bit more sense.
Like I had all the Lord of the Rings toys and stuff.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense knowing that of the collection you have behind you.
Yeah.
Like, I think you
what
turned
if
out pretty
started
well.
collecting Star Wars toys when you were in middle school. I think what it would be now. Like,
Yeah, imagine if I was like, I mean, I had a lot, but they're all opened. I think my older brother has a lot of them right
Or
now.
imagine if
he
you
has
had
like the
started
Millennium
collecting Star
Falcon we
Wars
had.
toys. This might be Gnome Pyre Radio, a gnome podcast,
ooh.
and it would have been Drew and his gnome collection.
Yeah, but like, what would we talk about?
Gnomes.
I don't.
Romeo and Juliet, that
Romeo-
movie.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
true.
I never seen any of those gnome movies.
The gnome
so-
movie or like the trolls, they're kind of like gnomes.
No,
we could
no,
break
no.
the episodes down.
Well, everyone in the Twitch chat,
You
if
learned
you're watching
something
this
about
live, I expect memes.
That's,
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
That's very interesting. I thought I knew Drew, and
I
I know Jeremiah.
so
thought
like
he knew Drew.
let's just say I had a bunch of them, and when my band, my high school or like my band that was in high school throughout some parts of college,
Your heavy metal band.
my heavy metal band, on our display when we would sell our merch, we had gnomes holding up certain things, or they're just hanging out.
And
Like,
they
we
were
had
from your
ra-
collection.
They were from
And-
our collection. My
Can you
collection.
imagine that conversation? Like, dang it, Drew, he didn't bring his gnomes this time. The merch
Like-
display isn't good.
Like I have a box of all of our old band merch that we didn't sell, and I have gnomes in that box with them.
Wait a second. So,
So-
what was your band name?
Disaster Path. We've gone over this.
Now,
No, did you say Gnome Path?
No.
so would Michael Taylor be able to confirm the gnomes?
Yes, you can probably text him or message him, and he'll tell.
Wow.
They were
You're
kind of
thinking-
cool. Like we liked them to the point, like they liked them that we put them on our display. And then I also had one of those street sharks, with the rollerblade.
Bro, Street Sharks are cool though.
I still have that toy somewhere in this room.
Street Sharks are pretty rad.
And one of our our fans brought like a little tiny like Barbie, and we put it inside the mouth of the street shark, and then that went everywhere with us for a while too. Yeah,
All right.
I don't know
Well,
why gnomes they're cool.
We're getting
They're
to know
just-
Drew today.
Yes.
All right, Bad Batch. So yes,
Maybe if anyone is listening and you make custom gnomes,
Ooh.
Hit a brother up.
I think you should if it's not too much money, make a custom set of Bad Batch gnomes
Oh, for me.
for Drew.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Let me and Jeremiah know so that we can plan a surprise unboxing for it too.
That would be cool.
Get a what is it? What's that? The big large box. What was that thing that from your video that David made?
It
GIF?
was literally a gif of me saying, "I've got a large box" or something on the floor. I don't even remember what it is. There'll be a ton of posts in the Discord of that gif by the time we're done. So,
Yep.
anyways, maybe
So-
maybe we could get a big box that's in the shape of like an Imperial boot, and then the gnomes can come out of that.
Ooh.
'Cause don't gnomes like
Possibly.
live in a shoe or something?
I don't know the origin of gnomes. I just liked the way they looked. I had
Okay.
a classic gnome too, like just like a straight up one gnome just standing there with a big beard. He was pretty cool.
Did you name them?
I didn't, but I think I broke him.
Oh,
R.I.P.
All right,
Young.
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. So Hera, she's looking at a distance, at her as the house is being investigated, but
Yeah.
she tells Chopper that we need to send a transmission. And so, okay, what's the transmission? And so then it immediately jumps to the Bad Batch in outer space in their ship doing their thing. And oh, okay, she's sending them a message. And so Omega, she's there fixing Gonki because he's a defective Gonk. He can't get a
Found
full
that out.
charge. So that's kind of sad that he'll never be to the full potential of what he was created for. It's just kind of sad.
But like Boom said in the chat during that part, that makes sense that he's a part of the Bad Batch.
He's defective, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Omega makes that claim. It's
Yep.
like, hey, we're all defective here. But in the scene tech, he says we're getting a message from a whatever that I don't recognize, signature that I don't recognize. And so Hunter says put it through, and it's Hera sending a message to the Bad Batch in classic Princess Leia,
Yeah.
help me Bad Batch, you're my only hope type of thing. And so they're surprised.
Jeremiah
like,
remembers that.
Yeah, because that's the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I guess.
He just. Yep.
Yep.
Haven't heard that one before.
But they're surprised that Hera had their contact. They're like, how did she get it? Well, I gave it to him for emergencies. And then Tech is like, you can't trust a child to. What did he say? They over exaggerate.
They over exaggerate or overreact or something.
Yeah, and Omega like, no, we don't. Like she overreacts in a second, like a little bit. It was kind of funny, but like she's in help, and then like Hunter's like, well, we can't just go into every dangerous situation and risk our lives for something. I was like, but we're soldiers. That's what we do. Like, and then Hunter's like, you got me.
Touche.
Let's go. And so that was just a funny scene. So they fly in through like the desert Grand Canyon type area and find what we find out to be Cham's old command post during the Clone Wars. And so they land in there and they find Hera and Chopper by themselves. And they're like, well, why do you need help? Like, what's the issue? Like, I'm Cham's daughter. And then Tech's like, the freedom fighter. Like, so Cham is so well known that the Bad Batch knows who he is, which is interesting. Also kind of surprised by that because, like, it's just one little planet. Like, why would they? Unless, like, is there any reason for us to think that maybe they had a secret mission on Ryloth at some point and, like, aided, and so they knew about him that way? But later in the episode when they run into each other, like, Cham didn't say, like, hey, guys, good to see you again.
I mean, he had a
so.
pretty large reputation for what he did during the Clone Wars. Like, I'm pretty sure Ryloth and the stuff that went on there, especially with Mace Windu being there, I think word got around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So.
But so Hunter, he is like still nervous about this because like obviously they don't want to run into a big, huge military occupation. But they're like, all right, let's just see let's just scout out, see what it is, and we'll see what we can do, but no promises. And so it goes to them spying on the city and from a distance, and there's just a speech by Rampart, and he makes the claim that Orn Free-Taa is still alive.
Yeah, he does.
Do you believe that? Do you think he's survived, or do you think he's just saying that?
No, he's just saying that. Dude, we saw Orn Free-Taa get yeeted.
Like, also,
that is true, but a lot of people last week were still saying that he wasn't dead because when they were wheeling him away on that hover cart, his fingers were moving.
He got shot in the side of the head.
I get it.
We saw the mark.
But I'm just saying a lot of people didn't believe that he was dead. But like,
I don't think.
Because like unless I see him walking around, like
yes,
or awake or something, like
I'm gonna presume he's dead.
Yeah, I just think
He was on a cart.
I think that he's just using him as a
Tool.
tool to like get the people to see Cham and his people as
Bad guys.
like they're doing like a coup or something.
Yeah.
Trying to
But like
overthrow.
honestly, like I don't. They don't like him anyways.
Well, yeah, but like if he's still part of your people, if you're being attacked, like you might not like him, but he's still be part of your people. And if a group of people are imposing on you, they're acting like an enemy,
Yeah.
and like they could say, well, we were trying to protect him, but these Cham's people attacked us. Like it makes the Empire look like they're good
Yeah.
type of thing.
Mhm.
But also the argument is made that the book was it the Lords of the Sith takes place 5 years after this, and Orn Free Tat is in that book and he's alive.
And that's
So-
canon.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's right. I have read that book and thoroughly enjoyed that book, but it's been probably 3 years, so I'd totally forgotten about that.
So yeah, so people are saying that he's alive because of that, but then we know that they contradict canon
Yeah.
books and comics anyway. So,
A lot.
but we'll have to see. Because like honestly, they might not even revisit it again. So like,
Maybe that was the way Dave Filoni fixed that problem. Like after they made that episode, they're like, "Hey, he's supposed to be alive still. All right, let's just."
well, I
Say
don't
he's
think that
alive.
I don't think something like that obvious was
There's no way.
they didn't see that coming. They got a big story group team that knows all this stuff. So
Yeah.
if there's a contradiction like that big, like it's like would have to be purposeful like that. But I don't know. We'll have to see as how it plays out. But as their Bad Batch is scouting, Omega brings to their attention that Crosshair is there, and so that was interesting. That they're kind of like, oh, this is a bigger deal than we realize type of thing. And while this is happening, a Viper droid shows up from a distance and starts filming. And I was surprised that they kind of used Hunter's special sensory ability, because like we didn't really see him do that except for in Clone Wars season 7. But here we see him like he can sense the
Yeah.
what was it, the electromagnetic field or something,
Yep.
something like that. So like he could sense that, and then he scaled that mountain and jumped from above and stuff pretty quick. So
Really quick.
That was a really a really sick shot though, of like the Viper droid hitting and then him landing on the ground. This like a second after. It was really cool.
yeah,
I like
and
that a
I'm
lot.
always surprised. I always forget how big those things are.
Yeah.
They're huge.
I always think they're like the size of like a basketball or something.
Oh gosh, no.
But every time they like do close up with the person, it's always like the size of like a
They're
cow
like
or something. Like there's just,
seven. There's like 6 or 7 feet tall when they're
Yeah.
hovering. So
so it's just I always
boys.
every time I just forget that. I'm always like, huh? I'm like, oh yeah, they're bigger than they're supposed to. And they seem. But they go back to the hiding spot, and they're like, we can't do this. Like, there's too much risk. It's the military occupation. Like, there's no way we can get in here. And obviously, Hera, she's pleading with everything she had. Like, no, I'll pay you double. But like, I was like, it doesn't matter if we're dead. Like, how much you pay us. And so he's like, we'll get you off world and bring you somewhere safe, but there's nothing we can do. And Omega gets offended by his comments, and she's like, she's trying to save her family. I would have done the same for you, type of thing. Like, oh, like he just like she always knows how to like just get right to like the point and get the feels for every situation. And so then after this, it goes to one of Crosshair's team members, shows them the video feed of the Viper droid. So the Bad Batch is here. And so Crosshair, he goes to Rampart and like, hey, like they're here, like we have to take care of them. I know what they're capable of, but Rampart doesn't care. He's not concerned by them,
Yeah, okay.
which is like,
What an idiot. I'm telling you, the Empire in this episode, there are some decisions made. They don't have a good track record. That's all I'm
well,
saying.
yeah, but like if you look at it from Rampart's perspective, like they haven't caused too big of a problem for the Empire. So
Yeah.
like they're not interfering throughout the galaxy with the Empire that much. Like, yeah, there was a thing on Braca, but like that's just whatever.
And Raxus,
Raxus, they just, but like he doesn't care. Like he's more about taking over worlds and expanding rather than one little
Defending.
like squad of people. But
all right.
because there's some, they have this in a big picture. They have minimal interaction with the Empire, and
Yeah.
so like they're known as maybe like an agitator, but like they have bigger fish to fry because there's always a bigger fish.
Ah,
Mm.
you're right. There is.
And then I have in my notes it says Hauser is trying to negotiate. What was the next scene with Hauser?
Oh, because he goes to Chom's cell
Oh yes,
and he's like, "Look, I'm trying. There's a team out there looking for Hera. I'm trying to save her. I'm trying to keep her safe. Like, you need to tell me where she is, so that I can like. I think he was gonna mislead them or something, but they're like, "Nah, dude. Like, we can't trust you. We're not. We're not gonna give you any information."
yeah, because yeah, which was kind of heartbreaking that like we know that he is the good guy, but Cham doesn't see that,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we're like, oh man, I hope by the end of this episode, they build that trust back. So that's what I was kind of like rooting for. But then it goes back to Hera and Omega's, trying to console Hera about the situation and saying that, like, it's the first time that she says that they were her brothers, which is true, but like she hasn't like stated that, family aspect of the relationship, and so which is kind of funny because we have all those family memes going around during this time. So like, it's almost like they plan this ahead of time. Like they put the family memes out there like a couple weeks ahead of time, and then it just paved the way
I
for this episode.
there there need to be memes now. I see the chance. I can't be the one. I'm not the meme creator. I've never been a good one. But if you're out there, you want to make some family memes with Omega, do it, and I will laugh.
But Omega says like, we just need to come up with a plan. And Hunter, he's all about strategy. So if you can have a good strategy, then he'll come too. And so Hera's like, or Omega's like, this place better than anyone. And like Hera's like, yeah, I do. Like I can come up with a plan, type of thing. And so she comes up with a plan. This is her first time making a plan, and like we see her all the time in Rebels, and it's interesting that the Bad Batch, they submit to her and follow her lead on this,
Yeah.
put her in charge in a sense. And so I just really like that part of Hera's story, that you see her first like major mission to like lead and plan was to save her family. Like I thought it was just a cool little thing.
Mm-hmm.
But her plan is to attack the refinery. So full circle from last episode where was spying on it, and so
Yep.
it makes sense. And so the plan is Chopper will go into the refinery, sneak in with the other droids, disable the power or whatever for the gunner things, anti-aircraft things, and then the Bad Batch would come in with their ship, H&M, and
Yeah.
shoot and destroy the gunners, and then that would be a distraction, and then they would revert all the uh, troopers from the capital to the refinery. Then they go in to get the family. So that's the plan. Um, and so Chopper gets in. He gets it. Are we gonna say this is his first kill?
Okay. So it's funny that you say that because Drew and I, when we were watching this part, and Drew goes, he really does have the biggest kill count. I was like, Drew, this could be the beginning. This could very well be the beginning of his kill count. I mean, I don't have anything. So, look, Filoni and the rest of the Stars team have not given me anything else earlier than this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say yes. This was the magical moment when we
Where-
got to see his
After
first
your
kill.
first kill, it's just
It's just
a
all
chain
downhill.
reaction after
Yeah.
that.
I did really like. I thought how he got in was super cool. He's so nimble, so quick, just going around barriers, jumping off stuff, flying around. It was really cool to see him do that.
But here's my question though. So Chopper fails at doing a little lock thing. Now, is that because it was just a super high security thing that was unlockable? Or do you think it's because he's so young and inexperienced, he didn't know how to do it at that point?
I would more so lean towards it not being the right console or not being connected.
Or like he didn't have the right codes or something for it.
Yeah.
'Cause I felt it was like he was overconfident and it was beyond his skill set at that age, in a sense, and that he didn't learn how to do such a high level
Security breach.
security breach at that time in his career, in a sense.
Maybe, but
When you watch him in these two episodes, like the way they portray him, like his voice is a little bit higher in pitch, like it's less matured, like he's more kiddish rather than a murderous adult, like. So like they did play with his personality a little bit to make him more childlike,
yeah.
and I feel like
David in the chat goes, he didn't have enough XP.
that is true. Like
He's not quite there yet.
I feel like he hasn't learned to be the best hacker yet. 'Cause
That
he's
is
so young.
that is a very interesting point. Yeah.
I could
Because
get
he is
behind
he-
it.
He's an older model too.
That is true too. Yeah.
So his programming might not include all that stuff right away. That's interesting. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, like, that's definitely not the craziest theory we've discussed on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I can get behind it.
All right. So he fails, and then he's like squawking or whatever, like getting all mad that he can't do it. And so then the stormtroopers hear him like do it. So like if he just stayed quiet, he maybe could have took a little extra time and figured it out. But they came around, caught him, and they're kind of escorting him away. And so, so at this time, you got Hunter and Echo. They're on their way to the capital to get into the prison area. And so while they're doing this, because Chopper failed, Omega and Hera, they have to figure out something new. So Omega's like, "Hey, you've always wanted to be a pilot, right? Well, here's your chance." And so like Hera's like, "What?" And last week we learned that Hera hasn't learned to take off yet, and so this is her taking off for the first time. So it makes perfect sense that she basically almost killed like 1,000 of her people, like trolling around.
It was What did Riley say, Drew? It was tactical maneuvering or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was like
Yeah.
tactical flying.
Tactical crashing or something. Yeah.
And so she's but she eventually gets the hang of it, and then she shoots the power pub thing. And so when that happens, Tech and Wrecker, they come in, and we see Tech do his cool maneuvering. He just goes full speed, turns off the engines, twists around, and then Wrecker just starts
He
shooting.
literally
all the,
drifts. He drifts
Yeah.
the spaceship.
It was
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
It was dope.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he does the drift, but then Hera does the drift in Rebels. So I wonder
Maybe
if
that's
she
how
saw
she figured it out.
like she saw that like, oh, you can do that maybe. Now obviously tech is an atmosphere, which is different than her doing it in space, but her
Right.
seeing it could have been an inspiration. Like maybe I can learn how to do something like that someday.
Yeah,
Well,
for
we
sure.
talked about how we think Poe maybe learned that from Hera.
Yeah.
And so maybe at the end of the day, Hera learned that from Tech. That'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool.
That would be cool. So Poe's a good pilot because of tech. That's what we're saying.
Potentially.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because you don't like Poe, so like you just want to put all the credit on a different character.
I mean, you're not 100% wrong. So,
So Hunter and Tech they get into facility and they find the prisoners, or I should say before they find the prisoners, this is when all the troopers are taken off from the capital, and this is when Crosshair is like, "Stop! This is not the target. The refiner's not the target." And this is like when Andrew said, like, "Oh, but why are they attacking it then?" Like, so I thought, I thought that was a cheesy line. Like, I get it, but
like, you're supposed to be one of the elite squad people. Like, it's obvious. Like,
I mean, it wasn't
obviously
obvious, but
I mean, but why would they attack the refinery while Cham is locked up?
yeah, I guess like the only thing is like maybe they thought that's where they were. Maybe. Maybe they
I
thought
don't
they
know.
were.
The fact that it was being attacked shows that there were still bad people there doing something, and
Yeah,
so like
Yeah.
they're still wanting to stop what's happening if they can, because they don't know if the facility's going to end up getting like a bunch of Twi'leks are going to show up and just like try and like raid the whole inside of it too. So,
Yeah, it's fair.
but yes, Crosshair he sees through the diversion and stops them. Like, no, they're here for the prisoners. Like they're doing something here, and so he gets a group of his squad plus some more clones. There's like probably like 20 of them, and
Yeah.
they go to where they know the exit would be. And so,
Also, did no one know about the private shuttle?
yeah, I was kind of
Like, I'm
Maybe
not
not.
saying I'm not saying that the existence of the shuttle and using it as a way out was lazy. Like, that's not like I'm not even saying that it was
No, you're
even
just
convenient. I'm
You're
saying
just more disappointed in the Empire for not
Right.
realizing that there was a
Right.
shuttle there.
yeah, like
I mean,
I
it
don't
just
know.
shows you how the Empire wasn't prepared at all for this sort of situation. Like, they didn't check every corridor, they didn't sweep it properly.
well,
It
one
almost seems
could-
like they were too focused on finding Hera and these other people more than they were focused on where they were storing these people.
or maybe they were sleepy and they weren't focused. Because
I
if that
see
were
where
if that
you're
were
getting
if
at.
that were a problem, there's an easy fix for that.
There is.
Yeah, you just
It
drink
works
some
for
coffee.
me.
Yeah, it works for me too. You just drink coffee. And I guess that's the next question is, okay, well, what coffee? Well, boy, do I have an answer for you.
Do you?
And instead of elaborating, I'm just gonna play a little something that speaks for itself. So let's just take a quick moment and listen to a word from the sponsor of today's episode.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor for today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea.
Ooh,
If you don't know
it came
anything
in
about
the
Wesley Andrews, you definitely
mail.
Dude, I
They're an
finished that.
award-winning coffee roaster
I
in
finished
shop
the
in
audiobook on
Minneapolis,
my way to
Minnesota,
Nashville, and I'm
they
so
make
pissed.
fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is
So
I'm
you,
so pissed.
you like read it and then you finished it
I
audibly?
read through chapter 45 myself, and every once in a while I would listen to it while I was reading it, but then I definitely finished it with the audiobook in the car.
I know they'll greatly appreciate it.
And why is that?
Too.
piss you off?
Just the end
Because
of
this
it?
is book 2 of 2 that has come out in the last few months that has ended with a cliffhanger on the last sentence.
Well, we know it's a 3-book thing, so of course it's going to do that.
But like, I've never had, but there have been a lot of other books that have been a part of a trilogy that have not ended with the last sentence as like a gut punch.
Yeah,
So you wanted a broom kid at the end of this. That's all you're saying.
No,
that's what he's saying.
Do it.
do it.
Do it.
I don't know if you heard the people on the video feed. You're not going to hear the ad because we were talking.
Yeah,
But
That's fine, do
anyway,
it.
do it. But back to the escape ship. So here's my reasoning why I think it could have still been there. If they're trying to portray that Ornfrey is still alive, like, and that's his private ship, like if that ship's flying around, people can see, oh, Ornfrey he's.
Yeah, but they should have had it under guard.
I'm just saying that the reason that it's there is because
That's fair.
they
No,
they
you're
might
right,
want to
you're right.
use it in the future to like show that, hey, Ornfrey is still, he's good to go. Your leader's not. He's made a full recovery.
Yeah, he only has a small hole in the side of his head now.
But yes, so, but that's still later in the episode though. But, so Echo and Hunter, they get to the prison cells and they free the prisoners, and Gobi's like,
They didn't free Todd though. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Well,
he's dead.
someone freed him of his life.
Oof. Got him.
If he's
All
dead,
right.
that is. We don't really
Go
know.
ahead. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Apparently.
yep. And so Gobi, he's like, why are you here? I didn't hire you. Like, how did you get here? And he's like, Hera hired us. And so then they're all like, oh, like, she's okay. Yep. Like, we're getting you out of here.
No, and the last thing they say, and the last thing is said is, I'm pretty sure Cham says, "Is she safe?" And then it shows her in the cockpit of a shuttle. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's one word that might not apply here, but sure.
But so they're about to leave and exit out the front door, which I thought that was a terrible thing anyway.
Yeah,
like,
that was
why would
such
you
a
go out
dumb
the
idea.
front door? Like, go out like
The
a
side door,
tunnel
the
or-
cliff, climb down the cliff. Like, there's definitely other ways to escape that place than
For
the front door.
for all of the tactical talk in this episode, or like strategic talk, there are a lot of bad decisions being made in this episode
Yeah.
Yeah.
on both parties. But
Like, at least they could have like, because when they're making their way to the front gate thing, like we see Hauser, he's looking and watching the squad line up.
yeah,
And so, like, Hunter and them could have, like, hey, let's peek out the window for a second. Make sure all the troopers are gone. Like,
Also,
they
that's a
could've just
big
looked.
front door. Like,
I mean, I think they were hoping to grab a shuttle, which might be why they were going that way, because they were hoping there might be a shuttle
but
left.
that front door
But
is
then-
huge.
But then why would you
Like,
run
when
to
that
the
thing
front door
opens, everyone's
and
gonna
try to
hear
get a
it.
shuttle if you didn't know for a fact there was going to be one there?
Also, if you didn't know that, like, you knew there was troopers out there at one point. Like, why wouldn't they be
Yeah.
like 2 or 3? I guess they're not really scared of 2 or 3 troopers, but
Like, there could have been a guy in sanitation that didn't have a gun. Like, he's just out there mopping the tarmac. Like, he could have just radioed in, hey, come back, and they would have been screwed. So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
so Jeremiah's trying to say that the Empire weren't the only non-smart ones. In this.
No, and I agree. I agree.
but as they're about to exit, Hauser stops them, and so then they all turn around, like, point their guns at him, like, because they don't trust him. But he's like, you're going into a trap. They're waiting for you. Blah blah blah. And so, this is when they're okay. Ornfrey has his escape private ship. Like, we can go exit that way. And so, they invite Hauser to come with them, but he's like, I can't. Like, my men are out there. They're good soldiers. They're good men. I need to see if I can, talk to them, get through to them, which was. And this scene was like, you didn't want to mention the chip. Like, Maybe you can't
I know, I was
negotiate.
like-
Okay, again. Okay, I don't want to be that guy for the fourth time, but like, one, okay, I respect that he wanted to stay with his troops. I get it, and I respect it, and you know what, 10 points for you, Hauser. But at the same time, just go with them. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
he doesn't know about the chip though. Like that's the thing.
But then
No,
again,
but, like,
also true.
Why
like,
didn't
they-
Hunter just be like, hey, by the way, there's this chip that's controlling your men and you might want to, like, here's a good way to take it out, or, like,
Yeah,
just so
yeah,
you
yeah.
know this is in you guys, and so maybe not all your men will be able to respond the way you want them to. Because he was saying he was going to talk them out of it. I'm like, but they're controlled. Like, how are he's going to talk them out of it?
Boom.
And I don't know. It was kind of weird that they
I
didn't
really-
mention the chip at all. I agree with Jeremiah. Like,
I
it was
really
kinda
like
weird.
Hauser as a character.
No, for
And
real.
I think he's super well written. I just think that there should have been more of a conversation of like, hey, well, one, if you got there, they're probably going to kill you. Two, there's a chip inside your head that is controlling you and the rest of the clones, but not us because we got ours removed, and you should get yours removed too. So if you want to come with us, we can remove your chip.
And then you can come back and try to save your men.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
And the thing is,
Live
It
to
is
fight
what it is.
another day.
but even if they did have time to like tell him about the chip, like obviously his chip doesn't work or wasn't activated or it's no longer working, and so like he's like, well, I didn't have that issue, like, and I know my men, they're not like what you're saying they are. So like, it might have even been hard to convince him that the chip was a thing when he says like, I know them, they're good men, like, so he kind of knows that they're not robots, like
yeah.
like they're same as him. So like he I think it would have been hard to convince him of that, especially like in such like you have like 20 seconds type of thing.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
like he could have just said it.
I
So
get
he
it.
knew of it. But
I get it, but it is what it is. But
It is what it is.
when the group leaves, and Hunter's the last one, he looks back, and what do you think? Did you think that means anything, or do you think it's just? It was it's interesting that he just stopped and looked back at Hauser and then proceeded with the
going.
group.
like,
I don't know. A moment of admiration, probably, as a brother.
or like a moment like that's who our soldiers. Wow, that was a hard word for me all of a sudden. Like that's who our soldiers are deep down inside, and like that's who they are.
Yeah.
And like almost like he looked at him one more time because he probably also thought that he wasn't going to survive this.
Right. That too.
So
I didn't think he was going to survive.
I
he
thought
was-
he was going
I
to
thought
get
he was
sniped
gonna
in the
I
head.
thought when that door opened and he was going to
Boom.
start trying to like, I thought Crosshair was going to
Game over.
take him out.
Yep.
And so but his speech was
Really good.
very like simple speech. Like he's a simple like, we came here to free them from separatist rule, and now we're being asked to fight
Fight.
against the people we tried to save, and like I'm not gonna be part of this anymore. He throws his gun down, and like was like 6 or 7
Yeah.
other clones throw their shields and weapons down.
And I thought it would have got boom sniped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna happen, but it didn't. They just got arrested, and then they escape with the ship, and then it goes to
And not all of his clones went with him too.
Yeah, so do you think some of those men were part of his team?
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
didn't?
all those men, besides the elite squad, were his men, and
Yeah.
that's why only half of so many of them went, because like when the ones that did go with him dropped their guns, they looked at the other ones that didn't.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause
they're like,
I'm
"You
thinking
gonna
that
do it too?"
because there's the military occupation of the planet, that a lot of those clones were not originally part of
I
his.
think a lot of them aren't, but I think those ones were because of how confident he was about going out there.
Well, yeah,
I think another part of that confident, like being so confident about not dying right away was that those were his men
Do you
out
think
there.
that there's more of his men that were going on their
I
way
don't
to
know.
refinery?
That was a lot of squad, so I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like those were a lot of people.
Because I feel like we're not going to see Ryloth anytime soon.
No,
Like, I don't think we're going to get any
I don't know if we'll ever
closure
see them
on
again.
this storyline. Because I feel like what's going to happen is, and we kind of talked about it last week about how, maybe there's a certain percentage of like 1% of clones that don't have the effects of the chip. I feel like what's going to happen is stories like Hauser and his team are going to start popping up all around the galaxy on different planets, that there are these clones that aren't following
listening.
orders, and this is going to be how they're going to argue against the clone army and do
Maybe.
I could see
Operation
that.
War Mantle. And so
I could see that.
I think we'll hear that in the coming episodes of other groups of clones not following orders.
And maybe that's
So-
why Crosshair decides to not. Like maybe that could be part of his turnaround is when they announce Operation War Mantle. That might be
Well,
like
we'll get into that last scene, but before the last scene, they go back to Ord Mantell and just part ways with the Sanulas, and so they say their goodbyes and thank yous, and Tech teaches Hera how to scramble their signature, which is she does that like every episode in Rebels, it seemed like, and so it's cool that she learned that also from
the
Tech.
Bad Batch.
And so there's a little hint that maybe Hera and Omega will cross paths again in the future, but we probably won't see that anytime soon. But yeah, they part ways. So then the last scene, which Drew just kind of mentioned a little bit, Rampart is at the refinery looking at what happened, this destruction, and Crosshair says, give me permission to hunt the Bad Batch, and he's like, granted. And so now this last, 10 seconds, I'm surprised that there's so much like conversation about it, because a lot of people are saying that like his smirk or whatever on Crosshair was like up for interpretation. Like some people are saying that he got like Hauser's words got to him also, and he's trying to like, he's not actually trying to hunt.
Yeah.
He's trying to like meet up with them and like escape the Empire, but like I don't get that. Like I
don't
never
know.
even, it didn't even cross my mind when I watched that the first couple times.
Well, like at the end of the watch party, I was straight up like, touch your head, touch your head, touch your head. Because if he would have done that, then that would have been maybe
Yeah.
like a sign like he's actually doing it to escape. But I don't know if we could say that for sure with the way he smiled.
So I didn't even really think of the smile. I think it was just like,
I didn't think it was a
it
smile.
was
didn't
just
think it was
his shape of
smile
his
either.
lips, and he was
Yeah.
just thinking like, okay, how am I gonna do this?
Now I can actually do what I want to do. That's my interpretation was that. Because he didn't touch his head, for me, it seemed like, okay, now I'm able to hunt the people I want to hunt and get these guys off our back so we can actually do other things.
Yeah.
Because, like, before that, it seemed like every time he tried to hunt the Bad Batch, he kept getting no for an answer, and now he got his yes. That was my interpretation. So, now if he would have won like this at the end of that episode, then we would have had a completely different conversation at the end of this podcast. But yeah,
Right.
No, I think he's trying to hunt them down.
Yeah,
and
me too.
that's the tension that is going to be building up into the season finale.
Yeah. Do you think? Because some people are suggesting that his chip is gonna wear off or something by the end of the season. Do you think he's completely lost in the chip until it's surgically removed?
I still think that he's going to be wholeheartedly against them, and then end up coming to and sacrificing himself last minute for them to get away at the end of season 1.
Do you think
Oh,
the
you
coming
think-
to is gonna happen naturally, or do you think it's gonna be post surgery?
I think it'll happen naturally.
like by him falling or something.
Yeah, last minute though.
So
Or
you think
maybe they do the surgery is a success. They get him back, and then right afterwards, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make things right. I'm gonna sacrifice myself.
So you think at the end of the season, Crosshair, no matter what, he's no longer going to be with us.
Yep,
All right.
I think so.
All right.
I think that it's not gonna wear off naturally. I think he's lost in the chip, in that if they're gonna save him, they have to kidnap him and do a surgery on him.
Did you say kidnap him?
Kidnap him.
You say
Kidnap him?
Oh, kidnap him. It like I heard kidnap him. I was like, that's I'm gonna kidnap him. Like I was like, okay, that's interesting. Sure.
Yeah, kidnap him and then
Okay.
try to remove chip. Or like maybe that won't even happen, and it's just gonna be a fighting between the two sides, and like
He dies.
I feel like he's not gonna get redeemed in any way. I don't know.
I think this is kind of crazy, but I kind of think somehow he's going to get hit in the head. Maybe Wrecker punches him in the head or something. Let's just say that. We're going to go with that one. He's going to get punched in the head by Wrecker, and then he's going to come to briefly, and then they're going to realize they're going to pull his chip, and then he's going to apologize, and then he's going to try to maybe they're going to try to assassinate that guy.
Rampart.
Yeah, Rampart.
I still don't think he's gonna last the whole season.
Well, I
don't think we're gonna have Crosshair
I want
at
him
all.
to be with us again, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Do you think Rampart's gonna Andrew? Do you think Rampart's gonna continue to be a villain,
Or do you
Like
think
if
he's
it's
gonna
season
get
2?
KO?
or do you think he's gonna be killed?
It could go either way for me. I mean, I think they're giving him enough attention right now
That it would
that
be cool
we're
if they kill
just
him.
invested. We're just invested enough to acknowledge him easily as a villain now, right?
Yeah.
But we're not so invested that if they got rid of him, they couldn't just have another admiral fill his
Exactly.
place. You know, so I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe he becomes the bad guy in season 2, like
That's
way
fair.
more of a bad guy. But I could also see him, dying. At
The
end of
next
this.
4 episodes are gonna be pretty intense.
Yeah.
So
For
buckle
sure.
up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's about to go down.
I just don't know like how it's gonna play out. Like
Dude, it's me every episode. I'm like, you know what? I
Just
really and
just go
truly
with it.
don't know. I don't really have a way of predicting what they're gonna do.
yeah, because I feel like they're not gonna go on another mission from Sid. But like,
No, I don't think so.
but like, how would Crosshair find them? Like, something has to happen where he gets like a tip, or because it's I don't know. Like, we don't really know a lot about how mercenaries or bounty hunters like fully track people. Like, just one of those things. But like,
maybe they get there and Sid is KO'd because Crosshair got there first,
that would be kind of crazy.
and then
Ooh, what if you see a Crosshair Sid fight? Like,
Sid
be cool.
wins.
Sid wins?
Wow.
Clink sweeps.
no, the Weequay and the Therian, they show up with their pool cues and they start like hitting Crosshair.
They're the real heroes here.
Or maybe they're what if they're like insurgents, like they're undercover
Ooh.
and like they're
They're
tip-
with the
tip 'em
Empire.
off. Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be
I also
cool.
think that they're actually the Sith Lords behind it all.
Well, that's a
That's
a
even
theory.
proves my point more. Like they would just tell the Empire to show up here because
Well, that sounds like a cantina conversation.
Or not.
Or not. Okay. Well,
Or not.
But yeah, I think these last 4 episodes are going to be very focused on like these past 2 episodes are going to continue with a continual
yeah.
line of plot that's going to just keep going. I don't
Yep.
think they're going to stop momentum now.
No, it's last 4 episodes is an arc that you're not gonna want to miss.
Do you think we'll get any new cameos?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think we need them
I mean, we might. Rex
Rex might
come
show
back
up.
temporarily.
for like one
is
episode
true.
to help them remove Crosshair's chip. That might be a thing.
That is true. Like maybe he has a way to
Do it
a more
remotely.
permanent facility that he can use or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Anything else, you guys?
I'm gonna rank this episode because I didn't. I'm gonna rank it the same as I did last week. It's a 8.5.
8.5, huh?
Lightsabers, yeah. Jeremiah, you're the only one
I
that
think-
hasn't ranked it.
I think last week I gave it a 9. I'll probably give it a low 8. I don't want to drop down to 7.9,
A low 8.
but it's a low 8.
Wow, we're getting like super granular now. What is it? So
A
it's like
low
what? An
8.
8.1, 8.2.
Something like that.
Okay,
All right.
sweet.
Well, that's it for me.
I'm more so excited for the next 4 episodes.
Me too.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking forward to. So yeah,
All right. So you've been listening to another Gucci episode of
oh gosh,
Empire Radio.
no.
I'm Jeremiah,
I'm Drew.
And I'm Andrew.
and may the force be with you.
Always.